Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Agency Life. I have an English/Irish lady, because I'm going to say she's adopted. I've got Abby from the Content Lab on the line today, if you're listening, but also we're on YouTube as well, because we like to mix it up. Welcome to the show, Abby. You're from Waterford, well, living in Waterford, right?
Living in Waterford. Thank you so much for having me. Yep, it's my adopted homeland now.
So, Abby, how did you, as a content strategist, make it across the pond long before Brexit was even a thing? You've been in Ireland for a long time. Tell us the story of your agency and how it's actually some of your background as well.
So the tacky cliche is I fell for an Irishman, and we
God love you.
Oh, I know, yeah. They have a certain charm to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we moved to Waterford about 10 years ago. He's originally from Waterford as well, so he was just moving back home. And it was in the height of the recession, and both of us kind of lost our jobs. And we said, no, enough is enough now. We're going to work for ourselves, which is a very Irish perspective on the recession. You know, it's
I know.
Again, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we set up the digital agency Island Website Design together. He was very much the design and development guy, and I was the content woman. And it kind of just exploded from there, really. So he focuses on e-commerce. And then a couple of years ago, we split the two companies. We still work together and everything, but now we have two agencies. So we have Island Website Design and the Content Lab. So his agency focuses on e-commerce and web design and software development. And I focus exclusively on content strategy and copywriting.
Yeah, very interesting. Nick is his name, right? Yeah.
Yes, yep, Nick, yep.
Super. Well, Nick might be interested in the previous episode. I had Rachel Jacobs from E-commerce Partnerships, and a good old chunky, I don't know if you know her, but we had a good old chunky chat about agencies and things. So I think Nick might be interested in that episode from an e-commerce side of things. Super. So tell us about the side that you look after then, the Content Lab. What kind of people do you work with, and what's the sort of structure of the agency?
So we handle everything in-house. There's two of us at the moment, and we work from Waterford. Our niche market is other digital agency owners. So obviously we have a background in digital agency running and everything. So we know the issues that digital agency owners face every day. And as part of Island Website Design, obviously I had a few friends that had their own agencies, and the content struggle was real. There's not many agencies have their own content department, or they outsource it, and it can be a little bit tricky to manage and handle and stuff. So it was kind of like this niche market opened up, and I was just like, okay, there's a definite gap in the market here, to just solely focus on content. So rather than just digital marketing or anything like that, it's specifically just copywriting and that kind of thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's and I love my ideal client is working with a small entrepreneur. Like I'll never be one of those people that works with like a company with 500 staff. I love seeing my clients grow and be able to buy their homes and get new customers and everything. And that's what I really enjoy doing.
That's so, yeah, there's a certain type of person. I agree. I just absolutely love working with entrepreneurs, and especially in the digital marketing agency. They're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Passionate and driven and creative and a little bit cookie. So do you
you have to be.
Yeah, touch on the med side, And so do you do the content? Are you talking about content for their own website, so their content, or is it content for their clients, or is it both?
Both, actually, yeah. So obviously with my background, I'm fully versed in blogging and email marketing and copywriting and conversion copy and all that juicy, lovely stuff. So that's very much kind of, our bread and butter is kind of helping agencies really, make traction in their own market. But then also we kind of offer a white label service where we come in as, their in-house content department.
Beautiful.
We're not, in their you serve their clients. So it's basically just like a little, content department for them. So it's pretty much, we help them and their end clients.
Excellent. Well, good to know. I'll put you down on my list of recommendations. I get asked pretty much daily to get people asking me about, do I know this? Do I know that? Do I know the other? So I'll get you down there on our list if anyone's looking for content. So if we think about what's happening over the last 2 years and the whole concept of, if I say this to you, blogging is dead, video is on the rise. Tell us, what's your thought process on that?
Well, I always say blogging is the bread and butter of your SEO. It is, it's your main, it's the main way you can connect with your audience. It's how you show your expertise. Video is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but not everybody's made for video.
True.
Not every and not every target market responds to video. And like there's so many different mediums out there now, which is fantastic, because you can speak to so many different types of people through different mediums. I mean, you've got social, you've got blogging, you've got video, you've got everything.
Yeah.
I think that there'll always be a place for blogging, to be honest with you.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is good news for me. Good news.
That is good news for you. Yeah, I know it's because I just wanted to throw be controversial, because we all know, that's dead, or email's dead, or everything's always dead. But when it comes to the blogging, I just saw an article from Wired. They looked at the top the blogs that were read by most people, and most of the blogs that were read were the long form blogs. So I believe there is a place for it. I think you have to blog. Number one, you've got your SEO, but number two, it can be a script for a video. And whether you're going to stand in front of the camera or read to a deck and turn that presentation into small snippets, I think it starts with, what are you going to say? And that script for a video may as well be a blog. I don't know why you wouldn't do both.
Get more use out of the same content. Yep.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I don't know why you wouldn't. So it's, the old stuff is the good stuff, but blogging, I agree. It's definitely not dying, but it's about multi-purpose now. It's about using that again across the areas. So obviously niching is really important to you. That you've learned a lot of things over the last few years. Tell us about, if you were to talk to an agency, it's like, what's the importance of niching and what difference has it made to your business, especially as you pivoted from from one into two?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Niching, it makes everything so much easier. Because when we first started as a generalist web design company, it was kind of, you'd get an engineer one day, and then you'd get a massive e-commerce site the next day, and you'd be all over the place, and you'd be trying to do the best work that you could for so many different types of end users and customers. And I think when you niche, you can truly speak to your audience and give them exactly what they're looking for. And that does your customers justice, but your work gets better as a result as well.
Yeah, you're refining and sharpening the sword and polishing all the time. That's great. Yeah, I love that.
100%. If it makes everyday work so much easier, because your stuff, and you can just go out there. It makes selling easier. It makes delivering easier. And you can really kind of get a name in your niche industry for doing what you do, which is always good.
Yeah, that is always good. And combine that then with something else that you believe in, an abundance mindset. Talk to us about how that actually translates in your agency.
Absolutely. So the abundance mindset, just in case somebody's not aware of what it entails, is instead of looking at people in your industry or your competitors as competitors, you can see them as aids to help you do better work. And you can share expertise. You can if a particular customer isn't right for you, you can refer them to somebody else, that kind of thing. I think that with the abundance mindset, you can learn so much from people that have more experience from you, or if they're brand new to your niche, then you can really get that new insight, from the younger generation and that kind of thing. But it's definitely, being an entrepreneur can be incredibly lonely, and the abundance mindset, the abundance mindset, it can, instead of seeing yourself, as this entity on your own, you are part of a massive a massive movement, which is, the digital movement. And you can, approach other agency owners, for insight, for help, even just friendship, just to really kind of, because we're all in this together,
Yeah.
So, I think it's often overlooked just, how much you can get and how much you can give to other agency owners.
It's so true, and I think that's something that if you're new to the space, or perhaps it's been a long time since you networked with new agencies or other agencies, get back out there and get back networking with them. As this industry evolves, it just gets bigger. There isn't a hope in hell that one agency can be full service. Not a hope. It's like, it's not physically possible unless you're 200 people, and then that's another beast entirely. But it is incredibly open, the community, very helpful. People who've been around for a long time want to help the newbies. The newbies want to partner with, people who've been around for a little bit longer. And it's incredibly open. And I don't think people realize that until they get in and go, oh, wow, that's one of the premises for this podcast, was to actually go, look, it's real life. It's an agency. It's different from anything else before. And get out there. I think that's fantastic. I had a previous interview as well with Sarah from Bright Inbound in Australia. And she had a small agency, grew it to a big with loads of people, and now has it stripped back down again because everything is white labeled. She knows the work that she wants to do. She's building the business for her life, for her family. And she is partnering with web design and partnering with SEO and bringing those people in. So I think the network, it's a really important thing as well. I think that's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I think that there's, previously there was this massive focus on having this huge agency and offering everything. And, there are alternatives. Like, I'm happy to keep my agency small, and it's a personal service, and, having minimal staff, that kind of thing, because you can really focus on what you enjoy and you get what you want out of your business. You don't have to be, managing 700 people and, thousands of clients and stuff. You can get enjoyment out of running like a small agency as well. So I like how the industry is changing, to be honest.
I know, right? Yeah, it is. It's very, very cool. And even there's still so much more to do. Like it's still there. I'm very keen to get my teeth stuck into some marketing AI knowledge. That was the plan for what I was going to do over Christmas, but I did very, very much the opposite of that. That's how nerdy I was. And then my Christmas got completely hijacked into something else, but that's all good. So, life has plans for you. Life is what happens when you're busy making plans. So it didn't turn into marketing AI, but a marketing AI will do there. So I'm excited about the opportunities. You'd have seen a lot of content develop over time. What would you say to an agency owner now that's sitting there? Like, I know I did at the beginning of the year. I went, got to mix up my content. Like, I've got to look at how am I going to do this differently. What kind of advice would you give to a digital agency then when you're starting, for them to start thinking about the evolution?
I think that keep it simple to start with. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with content. Obviously, long form content is everything now. Finally, for writers like myself, we're just delighted that Google's algorithms have caught up, and it's no longer about just really kind of just not very high quality content that is just stuff full of keywords and stuff, and that's what ranks. It's about the interaction with your readers, and that's what I always tell my clients to focus on, is the end reader as well. It's approach your content like you're speaking to one person. So instead of just boasting about your achievements, or like we're an award-winning agency or something like that,
so what?
don't
So I always go, that's the first thing I think of. I go, so
everyone's award winning nowadays. So what is your unique selling point? Focus on that. How do you solve your customers' actual problems? Do you have this differentiator, this experience that makes you stand out, and that you can help your customers' lives get better by offering your service? So instead of saying we sell this, no, you don't sell that. You sell, a better lifestyle at the end of it. So, an example I always use is a chair. So you're not just selling a chair, you're selling, a better back, better posture, which results in quicker work getting done, more time outside of work, which means that you get spend more time with your kids, your dogs, whatever. So it's kind of always focus on that final benefit, the biggest benefit, and just always write with your customers in mind. You know, fortunately, your website is never about you; it's about your customer. I think that's
absolutely, and what the problem that you solve, but actually showing them, not going, we solve this problem. It's like, so that you can have this result. Yeah, that's what they're looking for, to release the pain. I love that. That's very, very cool. So tell us about the, I'd love to learn a little bit more, because I saw that you wrote down in my form about you have a personal and a professional goal. So tell us about what you want to do with the agency, and tell us about your personal goal as well for 2020 or the next while.
The next while, yeah. So my professional goal is really to, you know, just keep mowing along and still achieving and stuff. But also, I would love to be able to take my agency to the Confab event, which is the massive content only event in Minneapolis, I think it is. But it's huge, and it's where all of the word geeks just kind of descend to learn about, you know, the latest innovations in content and stuff. So that's kind of what I'd like to do. I don't see it happening this year, but maybe next year. Hopefully that's kind of a nice goal. And then personal goal, well, I'd love to go to New Zealand.
Interesting. What brought that on?
Do you know what? My partner Nick, he spent years in Australia and he absolutely loved it. And I've always wanted to go to New Zealand, so we kind of met in the middle, and you know, see all the wildlife and you know, go enjoy the sea.
What's it with us Irish going to Australia?
It's either Australia or Canada. One of the two.
Mad, isn't it? It's like every second. You probably noticed that when you got to Ireland. You're going, yes, everyone, every second person's Canada, Australia. There's something wrong with us. We just like, as soon as we can get out of the country, we're gone. We're like gone. And then we go and tell everyone how great Ireland is. And then when we get a bit older, we're like, get back, quick, get back.
I need to go back.
The draw of home and the family. Like, it's so weird. It's like,
it's uniquely Irish as well. I love that.
Yeah, it's so many. I have so many friends who are like, and I did it myself. I couldn't wait to get out. Couldn't wait to get home. Bizarre. Well, New Zealand, I'll tell you now a funny story about New Zealand. If you go to Sligo, or Connemara even, it is very like Wellington. So,
you know what?
If you want to go and kind of squish your eyes a little bit, you know. I was homesick when I went to Wellington. I looked around and I'm like, I'm in the west of Ireland. What's going on? So if you want
a bit sunnier, that's the only difference.
Yeah. Well, if you want a list of agencies, if you want to make it a work trip, I know a heap of agencies down in New Zealand. We can hook up a work trip for you. I don't know, you can do workshops or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. I'm all about manifesting. As I said myself, I'm sitting here in Cape Town because I couldn't handle an Irish winter. So I can make these things happen. Oh, perfect. We love to share some tips and insights. And one of the questions I ask, and I'd love to hear more about this from you, is tell me about an aha moment that you had in your agency. And you said it came from when you were running the content department of Ireland website design. Give me a little bit more about when that light bulb went off.
I guess like there's been a few aha moments since kind of, you know, splitting the two companies. I guess one of them was, you know, life is too short to be doing work that you don't enjoy. So yeah. So if you're not keen on doing a certain type of work, again, back to niching, you know, if you absolutely live, breathe, you know, everything, a certain type of work, just go for it. Just focus on doing that and enjoying that. And then another thing is life is too short for bad clients. You know, if you're not gelling with a client, or if, you know, they're not gelling with you, it's time to say goodbye. I think one of the most freeing things I've ever done was firing a client, because, you know, a bad client, it's not only bad for you, it's bad for, you know, your colleagues and for them as well, you know, because nobody's getting what they need to out of that relationship. You know, their project isn't going to get the attention it deserves, and you're going to be, you know, on edge that you're going to get an email from this client and they're going to be unhappy. Yes, And it is a luxury as well to be able to turn away work. Absolutely. It really is. But I guess that it's kind of getting your business into a place where you feel comfortable and you're able to, financially and everything, that you can, you can do the work that you love the most. So I
Yeah.
guess if that's my main thing.
Yeah, like tell us a little bit more. I think people out there that it's a very common thing that's come up. It's a real thread. I probably add up out of the 35 interviews or plus I've so more that I've done. It comes up nearly every second one about a bad fit client. But if someone's sitting there and going, what would be the early indications that it's a bad fit? Did you feel it was a bad fit in the sales process? Does it a bad fit in the onboarding? Was it a bad fit 6 months on? Tell us a little bit more about that so we can help agency owners go, oh, I know what to look for, or I know that how to match the feeling with the actual action.
Yeah, so I guess that once you've been, doing your thing for a few months, a few years, you'll get like the same types of customers over and over again, and you'll get the same patterns of behavior. So it's really kind of taking note of those red flags. So if somebody is, God forbid, emailing you at 1 a.m. demanding work by 7 a.m., that's not going to happen. That is a red flag. That's a
total
extreme
red flag. Yeah.
But it's kind of, if you have set processes that works for you, works for your other customers, and somebody isn't willing to work to those processes, or that kind of thing, that's a huge red flag. Because if they, and that's early on in the relationship. So whether it's onboarding or it's the sales process, if they're not willing to go through your sales process, they're not going to be willing to go through your work process either. So I guess it's just, yeah, it's listening to your gut as well, because sometimes, it doesn't have to be on the professional level either. Sometimes you're not going to gel with somebody on a more personal level, and that can cause issues further down the line.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just listening to your experience and listening to, what you think will happen down the line.
Yeah, your gut. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Exactly, your gut. Like I know when I worked with lots and lots of agencies in HubSpot, I would hear this over again. Women have a very good intuition, right? But so do men. But the difference is we listen to it. Like, and over and over again, the amount of times I heard from men after things went tits up with an account, they would ring me and they're going, yeah, I had a bad feeling about them in the sales process. And I'm going, why did you listen to that now? Why did you let you go? Like, they wanted to be right about their bad feeling. I was going, next time you have that bad feeling, put a lid on it and don't go ahead with a client. So I think that's the difference. It's just listening, going, I don't feel great about them. Or I feel if there's way too much questioning about, will that work? And how quickly will it work? And I don't know, we might do a little bit of that and a little bit of this. Yeah. Why are they calling you if they know everything? Go and open your own agency, mate. Like
it's kind of, your customers should come to you for your expertise, and that's the same with pricing and stuff as well. If they're quibbling, if they're quibbling the bill and stuff, it's because they don't value your work. And you should always be valued for your work, no matter what. And if they don't, then that's an issue. And whether it's on you or on them is, down to each agency. But I think, it's kind of, if a customer is questioning everything that you do, why are they working with you?
Exactly. Why are they working with you? And another one as well, which you brought up a great point, which I want to really emphasize with any agencies out there who are like, kind of going, oh, I'm going to go after that industry. I've heard this over and over again, because they're like, maybe they're going, oh, I'm going to go after biotech, right? For example, because, there's loads of money happening in that, or I'm going to go after this software as a service, techie, sort of, they make their minds up that they see an industry that's getting a ton of money or investment or whatever, but they don't actually like that industry. They're not passionate about it. They don't care. And not that you have to be a big raving fan, but if you're going to work with the biotech industry and that's all you're going to be talking about, listening to, you need to know it, and you need to be interested in it. You might know a little bit, and your knowledge is going to get deeper, and then that could end up in a niche. But if you're not interested in it, it's going to be pretty swamp feeling every day, going, oh, not this stuff. I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a key point about, especially when you're deciding on your niche. with Island website design, we went through a couple of niches before we ended on e-commerce. I mean, my partner Nick, you know, he has a retail background, so his mum owns a surf shop and everything, and you know, it's kind of, that's why he chose e-commerce, because he loves helping retailers.
Right.
I love helping other agency owners, and I love to write. So, you know, the two kind of marry. If you choose something because you see other people making money in it, you know, it's kind of, every day is going to be difficult. You're not going to know, you know, the ins and the outs of the industry, because, you know, if you compare, you know, the financial sector to, say, non-profits to, you know, animal welfare, they're very different niches. They have very different demands. So
Exactly.
you're not going to be able to give the end customer what they need, and then you won't be able to deliver the results, and you're going to feel terrible that you're not doing your job to your maximum capabilities. So I think, you know, if you have a passion for something, go for that. You know, you can, and people will see that in the sales process and the delivery as well, because you'll care more. And when you care about your work, people will pay you for it.
That's right, exactly. And like, you are building, like, you know, I've always said this to agencies, it's like, I know you, Abby, I know you tomorrow morning can turn around to Nick and go, do you know what, I'm going to go off and get a job, I'll see you later. Like, anyone who works in an agency is highly employable. Like, we can go and get jobs any day of the week, anytime, day or night. We are employed. Now, whether it might be a bit of a difficulty to work for someone else, that's another.
That is another conversation.
But physically, on paper, we are employable, right?
That's great.
The CV looks great. The skills are great. The mindset might be another thing. But, you know, you are choosing to work for yourself. So choose the industries that you're interested in, and choose the people that are surrounding you, and choose the size and type of business that you want. Do you want it big? Do you want it small? Do you want it medium? Do you want it big but someone else manages the team? Do you want it small because you want to manage the team? So like, you can decide what it is. And I think if you're an agency owner and you're looking at all the clients that you have, and if you're not excited about at least 50 to 70% of them, you know, you're not going to be excited about all of them, but you definitely should be interested in them. I would ask you to just go and sit down yourself, do a little exercise about what are you passionate about in your personal life. You might be really into cycling. You might be really into health and fitness. You might be into karate. You might be into gardening. You might be very passionate about sustainability and what's going on in the world. So think of yourself personally. What are you spending your personal money on? Because that's what your passions are. And then you can start to write a list, a targeted list, and you can do your LinkedIn campaigns, and you can and start to build a business around things that you're passionate in. And what will happen then? You know, you'll get more friends, you'll get invited to those conferences. Next minute, your personal passion and your business are coming together all in one place.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, 100%.
I made it sound so simple, did it? You'd swear I did this. You swear I did this for a living. Jeez, I should do this for a living. Oh, hang on, I do. Yeah, okay, I got it. Beautiful. So we love to share some tips, you know, managing the business, right? There's managing the business, and then there's managing yourself and how you do it. Tell us one of the things, like, what is a personal habit, or do you have a daily routine, or a morning routine, or whatever it is? What do you actually contribute? What's your kind of, oh, I have to do this because this helps me be successful?
Yep. So I have a few things. I make sure that I always get up at the same time every day, and that if, you know, if somebody is working from home, always get dressed. You know, it's like
yeah.
You know, the amount of people that, you know, have their own agencies, and if they're, you know, small or remote or whatever, you know, you can literally do work in your pajamas. It's not productive and it's not healthy. Luckily for me, I go into the office every day, and it gets me up and it gets me going and interacting with people, which is good.
Beautiful.
But that's always, you know, a huge thing, is always, you know, start the day right as well. And another thing for me is I always eat the frog. So if there's something that you really don't want to do, get it done. Get it done. The first thing you do is to get that horrible job out of the way, because otherwise you spend your entire day putting this off, not being productive. You just want to get it done, get it out of the way, move on to something more pleasant. And then another thing that I always do is I always have a to-do list in front of me of, say, you know, 2 or 3 things. I know that, you know, you're meant to do one thing for the day. I have 3. And, you know, my day is successful as long as I get those done. So
amazing.
I always have, you know, something that says, okay, today was successful. That's good.
Yeah, I love that. Now, just in case anyone's listening and thinking, what do the Irish eat for breakfast? and I thought it was the French that eat frogs. Eat the Frog is by Brian Tracy. It's a book. You can start there, and it's all about doing the hard things first. So just in case, because you could hear me nodding, yeah, frogs. We don't eat frogs for breakfast. Although if you do, crack on. But that's what it's all about. Yeah, because you're using. I think a lot of us had just got into the habit of, I'll start my email first, and then respond to everyone else's inquiries and demands. If you cannot put your email on for the first hour, and look at your to-do list for what you've got to do. One more hour isn't going to hurt. Or go in at 8 instead of 9 and tackle that, because the science is showing, because we're refreshed from a night's sleep, hopefully, all going well. We have our energy. We're like little batteries, our energy is much better in the morning when we've had our breakfast and we're ready to go, and it kind of depletes over time. So if the big thing is hanging at the end of the day, it's more likely to get pushed to the next day, to the next day, to the next day. So you can check out, I'll put a link to the show notes up for Brian Tracy, Eat the Frog. So just in case people were going, what are those Irish up to now?
Talking about.
Yeah. What are the Irish doing now? Eating frogs for breakfast? Weirdos. No, we're not. Super. And then what would you say, like, when, working with your partner? Now, I know they're two separate businesses. I work with so many agency couples. I think they're another level of madness entirely, because it is a big balance to the. So maybe you tell us, how do you manage, first of all, the personal relationships? I know there's something you do yourself, but also talk to me about how you manage that relationship with Nick as well. I'd love to, if you could share some tips for other agency owners who are in a couple relationship as well as a partnership.
Yeah, so I guess I think that you have to be very comfortable in your relationship to work together, because you can have a wonderful marriage and get along fantastic, wonderful partnership, but the minute work comes into it, you can be at each other. It does take a lot of compromising to work together, especially when we're in the one agency. It can be difficult. Say if one of you wants to take business in one direction and the other wants to take it another direction, kind of talking that through and not bringing, it's easily said, difficult done, not bringing the personal side into it. It's business. But I guess not many couples spend 24/7 together, so that is difficult for a lot of agency owners. Like I have quite a few clients that are couples as well, and I think that you have to be on a certain level to be able to work together. Not to say that we don't absolutely kill each other sometimes. I think all that's
all part of it.
Exactly. But no, I think it's kind of giving each other space when you need it, definitely, and respecting each other as professionals as well, because you each have your own role in the business, and you each deliver different things and bring different things to the table, and one of you might be irritating the other at home, but when you're in work, you can't bring it in with you, as difficult as that is. So it takes a lot of effort to work with a spouse, but it can be really rewarding. To have somebody that understands what you do and is interested in your business, that's priceless. To have somebody that
gets it.
100%. Yeah. And especially with entrepreneurs like us, it's because work can sometimes take over everything.
I know.
It's have somebody that's supportive of that. I think, and unless you've been an entrepreneur, you're not going to understand just how much it can take. Yeah. So that's important. So it can be tricky working with a spouse, but it has its rewards as well.
Super. And you manage to, you do something very cool that I'd love you to share about how you manage your personal relationships. Like, how do you make time to actually go, okay, I want to do things? Tell us how you do that, because I'd love that to share with that of the audience.
It's not anything, too special or too, interesting. I actually schedule it in, as sad as that sounds. So say if I, I'll say, okay, Wednesdays is my day to go and see friends. I will take Wednesday off work and I will just go and see friends. And that is, I think it's important because time flies and it's so easy to just lose days of the week. Everyday life, gets in there. And it's like, as unromantic as it is, you do need to spend time with your spouse outside of work.
Yeah.
To say, okay, Thursday night, we're not going to talk about work and we're going to go to the cinema, or we're going to do this. It's scheduling nights doesn't sound that, fantastic, but it works.
No, it has to be done. And that like, I think we've all been guilty of that as well, like not taking the time off. I know certain friends, I've been guilty of that over the years, and I've had friends chase me down to go, where are you? Even though I'm in the same town, you know, even though there might be only 5 minutes away, we just live such different lives. But that time away does help you recharge and help you refresh.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's important. Yeah, no, go on. It is, yeah, definitely important. I think you made me think of something funny as well, because I was thinking maybe if you're an agency couple and you're working together, maybe you can just maybe do a night where you pretend you're other people, like you're going, one works in a bank and one works in a shop. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, not exactly spicy role play, but different role play. It's like, how was your day in the shop? Oh, my day in the shop was pretty boring, actually. Oh, good. Like,
you know?
Yeah. Try something different, because then you can go. Otherwise, you slip into work. I remember working with this incredible agency couple. I won't name names, but she would be at home cooking the dinner, looking after the kids, and then chatting and having a lovely family dinner. And then after dinner, he'd start talking about work and what was going on. And she's like, oh. It was like so annoying for her that she was just like, all of a sudden he went back into work mode, and she thought, oh, I thought I had him like husband father mode, and you know, he just went, anyway, let's talk about work. I'm just like, no,
let's get back to the real stuff now.
Yeah.
It's funny, actually.
Kids are in bed.
The other day we were driving home, and he was just like, right, for half an hour we're not going to talk about work, because usually and within 10 minutes I was just like, you're talking about work again.
I was going to say, or did you
did
you put the radio on? I was like, what are you going to do? I know, it's so hard when it's all in one. Perfect. Okay, well, we're at the kind of top of the questions and the sort of the format that I have, and this has been a fantastic conversation, Abby. I'm so glad we had a false start last week. When I was in Cape Town, the power went out just as I was about to hit record, so I'm so pleased you booked me in straight away, which is fantastic. We're here now at the end, and there's agencies sitting out there, and they're going, like there's some newbies out there, or there's some people who may be feeling a little bit tired. What would be the one tip that you would actually give an agency owner listening today?
I would say take some time out for you and focus on what you really want, what you want out of the agency. Don't let the agency run you. It's kind of, owning an agency can take over your life a little bit, but you've got to remember, family is important, friends are important. It's kind of, what do you want to get out of the agency at the end of the day? It's not a 9 to 5. And definitely reach out to other agency owners, reach out to family and friends, schedule in those date nights.
Yes.
It's definitely, it's good to have, a balanced work, life, play thing,
and schedule it in. I think that's a fantastic one. And then one thing that we talked about earlier on as well, I'd love just to remind people that you're part of a community, a fantastic community where we're all here to help. Like this, every day I get asked questions. I never turn anyone down, or if I don't know, I go and find someone who does. We're all here because we know that we could go and get a job in the morning, but we've decided on this path. This is what we want to do. And I personally couldn't imagine not working with digital agency owners. I just love helping them so much. The joy I get, and I just think it's, I feel really lucky to do what I love and to talk to incredible people like you, Abby. I can't wait to meet Nick one day. I do plan a trip down to Waterford because I have a friend who lives there, and
very good. You'll have to come say hello.
I definitely will. And her daughter is the same age as my niece, and they have become pen pal friends, which is cuteness. I know, cuteness. So I have promised my niece a trip down to Waterford. So I will. Yeah, I said it correctly. People on the podcast going, what are these two talking about?
What on earth was that noise?
Waterford. Nobody knows what that is. So look, Abby, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing. And what's the best way if an agency's been here listening going, God, I actually need some content. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
You could pop to our website, which is thecontentlab.ie, or you can drop me an email at Abby, that's ABBY, at thecontentlab.ie, and just, say hello. I love to chat content. I love to talk digital agency life. So all good, but definitely reach out and say hello.
Beautiful. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
so much.
Abby.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode of Agency Life.